The cover car for the catalogue is the 1924 Rolls-Royce Springfield Silver Ghost Piccadilly Roadster. These are spectacular looking cars, believed to have been about 105 bodied in period. This one has a known ownership history from new and is understood to have covered just 38,000 miles over the past 101 years. It was previously exhibited at Pebble Beach and it's been a past prize winner at the Quail, etc. It began life as a 4-light Tilbury sedan, was then rebodied as a 6-light McNear sedan, and the vendors fitted the current Piccadilly Roadster coachwork. This Ghost belonged to Grand Prix and sports car ace, and indeed Formula One world champion Phil Hill for 2 decades, from about 1967 through to the mid-1980s. It has matching chassis, engine, gearbox and rear axle numbers. The vendor and his father took it for a 250-mile run last year, and indeed it is being driven to the sale. So it is a spectacular looking machine. I mean, they are so over the top. This was a chassis that was designed to accommodate 6, 7, 8-seater bodies, and instead you've got a 2-seater with dicky. So very, very flamboyant. You can quite see why Howard Hughes was one of the first custodians of a Piccadilly Roadster. So glorious looking thing. Equally interesting is the 1967 Costin Nathan GT. Now this is notable because it is the very, very first production example. It was displayed at the Olympia International Racing Car Show in '67. It's been subject to a comprehensive restoration by Rawson Racing down in Kent, which was overseen by Roger Nathan himself. So he's the person who collaborated with Frank Costin on that incredibly voluptuous, very aerodynamic body shape. It's a wooden monocoque with fiberglass panels, weighs in at just about 420 kilos, powered by a Hillman Imp engine developing about 110 brake horsepower, allied to a Jackknight 5-speed gearbox. So powered by a Hillman Imp 1-litre engine developing some 110 brake horsepower, allied to a Jackknight 5-speed gearbox. Because of the low weight and the incredibly slippery shape, it's reputedly capable of the best part of 170 miles an hour. So spectacular performance for a 1-litre car. It's got current FIA papers. It's been back in action following the restoration. It's been subject to a shakedown test at Brands Hatch in 2023. It's been subject to a feature article in Octane magazine. Very, very rare, very interesting 60s sports prototype racer. Still on a kind of sports prototype theme, in that that's what's thought to have inspired the bodywork, is the 1977 Ferrari 512 Berlinetta Boxer. Now this was uprated with wider wheels and tyres, various engine modifications, and had the bodywork reshaped by supplying dealer Maranello concessionaires to the special order of its first owner, and indeed it's being offered for sale by the first owner's wife. As such, it's thought to be unique among the 101 UK supplied right-hand drive examples. And the body was reworked, the front and rear aluminium clamshells, reprofiled B to C post sections, enlarged NACA ducts. It was reputedly inspired by the factory-sanctioned 512 Berlinetta Boxer Competizione cars, which were campaigned by Charles Pozzi and Nart at the 1978 Le Mans 24 Hours. Now this road car, was being maintained by Vince Mazzullo throughout its life, both during and after his time as a Maranello concessionaire's employee. It's finished in Rosso Chiaro with black hide and carpets. Spectacular looking one-off machine. We understand from the first owner's wife that it's covered 6,000 miles from new. Unfortunately, paperwork's been lost, so that can't be warranted, but it remains a one-off spectacular 512 Berlinetta Boxer. So it's generated a lot of interest, as you might expect. Again, another stunning looking machine is the 1993 Jaguar XJ13 recreation by Proteus. Now, those of you who are familiar with Proteus, and more particularly Jim Marlin's Proteus and the genius that he is and his creations, now this XJ13 recreation, it's part monocoque, part space frame. It's clad in a mixture of fiberglass and aluminium. It's got a Jaguar V12 engine. I believe it's been taken out to about 6.3 litres. Breathing through 6 Weber carburetors. Rob Beer has sorted the cylinder heads. It's got a 5-speed ZF gearbox. Again, it has a known ownership history from new, which involves our very own John Markey, BRDC member and former sales director at Colborne Garages. It's been driven around Goodwood. It's been used on a number of tours to the south of France. It's professionally built and just a stunning thing. You really have to see this in the flesh, so to speak, to appreciate it. Again, another glorious looking machine is the 1965 Bentley S3 Continental Flying Spur. Obviously, the Flying Spur coachwork was by H.J. Mulliner. This is one of just 68 right-hand drive S3 Continental chassis to wear this particular design. It was purchased new by ex-Rangers Football Club chairman and building magnate J.C. Lawrence of Glasgow. This is a gentleman who could afford the very best. He employed up to 2,000 people at one stage, was Scotland's biggest property developer. So it's very, very nicely preserved, this car, by its various custodians. The current owner has had a number of these Flying Spurs, including the very famous ex-Keith Richards Blue Lena that I believe made well over £700,000 when it changed hands. And so he knows these cars inside and out. He's had this particular Flying Spur treated to a complete repaint and gone through by mark and model specialists, English Automotive Services. So it really is a very, very original, well-preserved, well-sorted car. Comes complete with the original Bentley supplied book pack, presented with an incredibly rare original brown paper envelope. So it's just very, very much worth looking at if you're in the market for one of these. And they are spectacular value when you look at various other 60s GT cars. We also have a 1986 Aston Martin V8 Volante. Now, this is unusual. They only made 439 carburetor-fed V8 Volantes, but very, very few of those were supplied new with the rare and desirable 5-speed ZF manual gearbox. The vast majority were automatic transmission cars. This is a left-hand drive car. It was supplied new to the States, brought back to the UK, and then very nicely restored by Aston Martin aficionados, the Runnymede Motor Company, between 2018 and 2019. It's showing just 25,000 recorded miles. It's a glorious, gorgeous combination of Winchester blue with dark blue Connolly leather and a dark blue Wilton carpets. Just a lovely thing. And in left-hand drive, seemingly perfect for continental touring. Totally unsuited to continental touring is the 1932 Giron Alvis Speed 20 Special. Now, this was a personal project that Rod Jolly, and if you've had any dealings with coach builders and coach work in the last, 50 years, you will know Rod Jolly's name. He's rebodied and created bespoke coach work for some of the world's best cars. Anyway, this was a personal project of his to build a single-seater racing car with some pre-war inspiration and something that was capable of taking a fight to the ERAs. So it was built in the mid-70s. It's a collaboration between Paul Hodsworth and Rod Jolly and, of course, Louis Giron. So it's fitted with a supercharged 4.3-litre Alvis engine. Now, this car, the supercharging expertise, and it runs on methanol, was where Louis Giron came in. Now, Monsieur Giron was apprenticed at Bugatti's Molsheim Works. He also worked on Maseratis before the Second World War. He became a technical advisor to the National Motor Museum down in Bewley, and he helped Rod Jolly sort the engine. So it took a couple of years to get the speed and reliability correct, but this is still a fearsomely fast and potentially competitive single-seater. It is drop-dead gorgeous to boot. You can see echoes in there, as Rod Jolly says, of Mercedes-Benz W25 Grand Prix cars, or the Alfetta Tipo 158, Tipo 159 single-seaters. The Giron is eligible for several historic racing events, and you can campaign it with the Vintage Sports Car Club. Just a stunning-looking thing. I think they estimate at the moment currently developing 300 brake horsepower and 300 foot-pounds of torque, but with the potential to start both numbers with a 4. A car similarly equally born of competition is the 2000 Subaru Impreza P1. Now, these were two-door Imprezas. They were ProDrive ones, so they were developed by ProDrive, who were so successful with Colin McRae and Richard Burns, etc. Now, this is number 116 of 1,000 P1s made. It's warranted to have covered just 23,300 or so miles. from new, has over 20 stamps in the service books. It's been kept in a temperature-controlled carcoon, original book pack, purchase invoice, MOTs, 2 spare keys, even fuel receipts. It is a very, very nice example. Quite a few of you will be aware that ProDrive released their P25 a couple of years ago. Those are, again, a very, very special 2-door Impreza, retailed for over £500,000, still making over £500,000. Another very special 2-door Impreza was the 22B. I believe they made over 400 of those. They are well into 6-figure cars. So the P1, yes, there were 1,000 of them. They were a UK market car, but they are special, they are sought after, and they rarely come much better than this one. From a rally-bred homologation car to 1960s luxury, the 1960 Bentley S2 Saloon. Now, there are lots of S-Series Bentleys out there, but this one really is special. You know, it's been lavishly maintained by owner after owner after owner. More recently, it belonged to a preeminent trauma surgeon, and for him, who could be called into an operating theatre at any time, reliability was paramount. So it's gone to the extremes. It's even got a factory exchange replacement engine, which was fitted about 10,000 miles ago. You know, it's been significantly improved by the vendor since being retailed by Frank Dale and Stepsons for 51,000. You've got an incredibly detailed history file, which dates all the way back to 1965. You can see it just looks lovely on the road. The vendor's enormously proud of performance. Took our cameraman Martin out in the car and very keen to show it sort of lifting its skirts and getting up and going. So, but really an unusually nice Bentley S2. We're fortunate, you know, if cars could talk, we've got a few celebrity cars in this sale. So we've got a 1995 Aston Martin DB7 that was supplied new to Sir Elton John. Now, this has had 2 owners since then. Still only covered 14,500 miles. It is the rarer and more desirable manual gearbox car. It was finished in Rolls-Royce Brewster Green with light tan interior, which was to Sir Elton John's specification. He also had it fitted with an Alpine V12 amplifier. It's a straight 6 supercharged car, but, you know, obviously music is the man's lifeblood, so that was particularly important. So it's a very, very well looked after, low mileage DB7 with that celebrity provenance. A little bit more flamboyant, a little bit more out there, not something you'd normally expect as a phrase after Elton John, but is the 1971 Cadillac Series 75 Fleetwood Limousine. Now, this is one of just 848 examples made, but most importantly, it was imported from America by John Entwistle of The Who, the fabled bass player. Now, it's reputed the inspiration for Entwistle's 1973 song Big Black Cadillac. It's been pictured in period with Entwistle and Keith Moon, comes from the same private collection as the wide-bodied 512 Berlinetta Boxer Ferrari, just untouched in recent years, does require recommissioning, but very, very original in terms of the interior, and goodness gracious me, the bar stories that could tell. Finally, in terms of the celebrity cars, we've got a 1971 Jaguar XJ6 4.2 Series 1. Green car like the Aston Martin DB7, but this was supplied new to Nancy Sinatra, daughter of Frank Sinatra or Blue Eyes. Now, it spent the majority of its life in Hollywood, came over to the UK in 2018. It's had 1 previous UK owner and only 2 in the States, showing about 29,000 miles to the odometer. Since 2018, the door cards, transmission tunnel and carpet have been retrimmed, but, you know, it's got a very authentic feel. It's rumoured to have been customised in period for Nancy Sinatra by George Barris, who apparently painted it light metallic green at one stage and was responsible for putting these Series 2 wheels on it. No reserve lots. We have got no fewer than 26 in the sale. We've got 2 London to Brighton eligible cars being offered at no reserve, including the 1900 Locomobile Type 2 5.5 horsepower spindle seat runabout. It's an unusual American-built steam car using the tech that the Stanley brothers perfected, has been dated by the Veteran Car Club of Great Britain and retains a certificate, subject to a 10-year boiler test in 2019, eligible for the highly prestigious London to Brighton Veteran Car Run. Just great looking thing. We've also got a 1922 Citroen Type C 5 horsepower torpedo tourer. Now this is just cute as a button. Really, really, really lovely looking thing. It was discovered languishing in a Hong Kong scrapyard, underwent a degree of restoration in the former colony before coming to the UK, restoration being completed and being road registered over here in 2013. Past owners have used it for a variety of vintage sports car club events running in the champagne class, would you believe? It's coming from a small private collection. We'll be running and driving for the sale. As I say, just a lovely looking thing and fun for me to think that the Type C reputedly used to give Louis Renault nightmares, because whereas most of the French manufacturers were producing cycle cars trying to appeal to the mass market, Citroen went in with a scaled down full-size car, a bit like Austin with the 7 over here in the UK, although the French horsepower classes means actually a 5CV is the equivalent to about 7.5 horsepower in the UK. Finally, among the no reserve lots is a 1996 BMW Alpina B3 3.2 supercharged. Now this is one of just 85 B3 3.2 saloons made. The vast majority of those were to left-hand drive specification. It's warranted to have covered 57,000 miles from new with supporting main dealer and marque specialist service history. It was previously owned by a historic racer who wanted to turn it into an M3 basher, so it went to renowned BMW performance specialist Birds, where it was fitted with a supercharger. I believe that's a Vortec kit. Having had a quick look around, I think you can retrofit one of those, but the kit itself is £4,500. Now, this Alpina has been barn stored for 18 years after the vendor was reposted to America for work, and he's asked us to offer it for sale, with the sale proceeds going to the British Heart Foundation. So it's a very, very worthy cause. We're obviously not charging anything to sell it, so very, very worthwhile looking at. Remarkably well preserved for its time in storage. Hopefully quite a simple recommissioning project, but in terms of a modern classic being sold for a very good cause with rarity and performance to spare, well worth a look. Now, we will be open for public viewing at the Imperial War Museum, Duxford, on Tuesday the 8th of April during the afternoon from 12 until 6. Doors open at 9 o'clock on sale day, which is Wednesday, April the 9th. The auction itself will start promptly at midday. As ever, if you've got any questions about any of the lots on offer, please don't hesitate to ring us on 01925 210 035 or email us via info@h&h.co.uk. We very much look forward to seeing you at Duxford. We've had a slight relocation on site, so this time we will be having the sale right next to the American Air Museum, which is well worth having a look around yourselves. A spectacular, wonderful looking building. So, as I say, be lovely to see you there. If you can't make it in person, please don't hesitate to contact us. We'll try and arrange a telephone bid or online bidding, or allow you to leave a commission bid. Thanks very much. Goodbye.